5 proven ways to outpace inflation. And it's simpler than you may think. What up, you got Mr. Smith, point 5 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And in this brief video, I want to talk to you about 5 simple ways to outpace inflation. Why is that important? Well, we're now witnessing an increase in inflation. And they said that it's been the highest increase in inflation since 2008. So things are costing a little more. Your money is going a little bit less far, meaning that things are going up in price, so your money is less valuable. Your money buys less. It costs more to buy things that used to didn't cost as much. We see it in the housing market. We're seeing it in different places and as it relates to groceries, as well as other things. So it's important to understand how to outpace inflation. Now, what is inflation? Just in brief, it's the cost of goods and services going up, and in many cases, the money not going up to go along with it. The money, the salary, the cash flow not increasing to match the inflation. So if the cost of goods or services is going up, but money doesn't go up, then you feel every bit of that inflation. However, if the cost of goods or services are going up, but the money is going up at the same pace, then you're at least balanced out. So what I want you to do is think of how you can outpace inflation. So if inflation goes up about 4% every year, then you need to figure out how you can increase your cash flow, your net worth, your income in order to make sure that you outpace inflation on a level of 4% or better. And you really want to do more than that, truth be told, because you never know what can happen. So let's talk about those 5 ways. Take notes, because you definitely want to write these down and you want to implement what I'm about to say. And if you stick around to the very end, I want to give you a bonus that can help you do all 5 of those things in one. So the 5 things that'll help you outpace inflation. Number 1, and this is specifically to an individual who has a job. Most Americans have a job. I know a lot of people aren't looking forward to going back to work, and a lot of people are still riding out the different benefits that they're getting from not going to work. But I'm not speaking on that. I'm speaking on those who are going to work and they have a job and they've been clocking in for whatever duration of time that they've been clocking in. Many people miss this. And this is a method to being able to outpace inflation. Why? Because it brings in more cash flow. And what you do with the cash flow that I'm about to teach you on how to get it matters more than what I'm about to say right now. So, how do you increase your cash flow if you work a job as an employee? In many cases, and in many cases, I mean over 100 million people fall into this category, so they could be you. So stay tuned and listen closely. 100 million Americans overpay in taxes. So what you have to understand is if many people overpay in taxes, what is it that you can do to pay your fair share? Not overpay, not underpay, but pay your fair share. And if you understand how to pay your fair share, then what that does for you is allow you to bring in more of your money because you're no longer overpaying. How do you do that, Mr. Smith? Glad you asked. Understanding the proper way to correct your W-4. If you check our playlist, we have a playlist centered around how to W-4, but basically how to properly correct your W-4. For most people, when they properly adjust their W-4, they're able to bring in an extra $200 to $800 per month, and sometimes per paycheck. $200 to $800. How does that help you outpace inflation? I'm glad you asked. Well, if you were accustomed to getting a certain amount of money, but now you're bringing in a new form of cash flow in the form of that $200 to $800, you positioned yourself to have more take-home pay that you can do things with that can very well help you outpace inflation. Now, before you get to saying, well, if I adjust my W-4 and bringing in extra money, I'm going to have to pay into the IRS. I won't get a refund. I'm scared of on. I don't mess with those 3 letters, the I, the R, the S. Before you say any of that, what I want you to understand is that the IRS actually did you a favor. When they created the IRS tax withholding estimator or calculator, they did you a favor because it allows you to put in your information and it tells you, look, I want you to have your recent check stubs in with you as well as other items, because if you have those items in with you and you input your information, the chances of you having to owe are slim to none. And if you are in position to owe, you would know before you even turn the W-4 into your employer. So that's helpful because it lets you know at the end when you get to your results page, okay, you're likely to get a refund of this. If you would rather not get that big of a refund because your overpayment states that you have overpaid or will overpay $8,000, $4,000, whatever that amount is, you can do what's called adjust that estimate to now you're making it so that, okay, instead of me getting this larger refund, I'm able to bring in more of my cash flow, and that may be $432, that may be $200, and still get a refund at the same time. So it's not that you're having to do without, it's that you're able to create that cash flow to do the other things that are highly important that I'm about to get into. So that's that. Correcting that W-4 helps you outpace inflation because it gives you more cash flow into your household that you can do the following things with. Number two, pay down debt. Now that you have this newfound cash flow, it's a matter of what you do with the cash flow. So one of the best things you can do is invest in your debt. Why do I say invest in your debt? If you have a credit card that has a 20% rate of return, 10% rate of return, or interest, not rate of return, but 10% interest that's attached to that credit card, 10%, 15%, 20%. You got a car note that has another 5%, a mortgage that has, 3%, 6%, whatever that number is, or you have some loans that might have 10%. If you invest into paying off your debt, now it's almost like you get that rate of return back into your pockets. What do I mean? If a credit card has an interest rate of 20%, but you pay it down to 0 or less than 10%, now what you've done is taking that money and automatically giving yourself a 20% rate of return on your money because you knocked out that debt, or you lowered it to where the interest that they are charging you is less because it's on a lot less money. That helps you outpace inflation. If inflation is 4%, and you have an interest rate on a credit card of 20% or 15%, 12%, whatever that number is, then you successfully outpace inflation. You see, sometimes it's not about making more money, it's about giving less money away. So if you lower your interest, then you give less money away, legally, ethically, morally, and you use the strategy of understanding the W-4 to do just that. So that helps you in more ways than one. In addition to that, once a debt is paid off, that's even more cash flow. So say, for example, you had $500 that came from the W-4. Now that $500 that came from the W-4 helped you pay off some debt that was costing you $200 a month. Now, not only do you have that $500 a month that you got from the W-4 correction, you now also have the $200 that you got from the debt elimination. That's a total of $700 that you can be using to do what? Outpace inflation even more. The third way to outpace inflation is by making sure your credit score is on point. So restoring your credit. Whether that's investing in someone doing it for you or you doing it yourself, restoring your credit can help you outpace inflation because it can help lower your interest rate. There's many things that you're paying more on if your credit score isn't up to par. They charge you more on certain things because your credit score is lower than what they would like it to be. And in all actuality, they make the most money off of the people that had a lowest score. So if you understand that, then you better your credit, and now you're able to successfully lower your interest rates in certain areas, whether that's refinances or whether you're applying for something or whether that credit score allowed you to get a promotion at your job or get a job altogether, because the credit score has that type of effect. So by bettering your credit, you lower your interest rate in several areas, which also helps you outpace inflation. Number 4, you want to be investing. Because if you're not investing, you're not on the road to building wealth. And that's one of the vehicles that is used to outpace inflation. If you're investing your money in something that you believe in, something that you've done your due diligence in, or something that you feel has a future, whether it be stocks, whether it be ETFs, whether it be, index funds, and I'll just stick to those, or whether it be crypto. If you can get a rate of return that's better than inflation, 4% or more, then guess what? You successfully outpaced inflation with that one strategy. So all of these can go individually, but it's better when you do them all together. So you want to be investing your money so you can get a rate of return that outpaces inflation. That way, when things are going up, your money is going up with it. So if you're invested in an industry that's seeming to cost more, if you got your money invested in those sectors, then so will your money inflate. And that's what you want to be, on the right side of inflation, not just buying inflated items. No, you want to have your money invested in a place that gives it the ability to inflate. So inflation doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, inflation isn't a bad thing if you're on the right side of it and you're benefiting from the inflation in prices. Last but not least, what you want to strongly consider for number 5 as it relates to outpacing inflation is A home-based business. Why a home-based business? Well, a home is something that you're inevitable to have expenses associated with. If you have a home-based business, now some of the things that you have expenses with can easily be converted into tax deductions, business deductions that offset your income, that offset your tax liability. So when we talked about the W-4 earlier, some people may think, I'm gonna miss out on my refund. I gotta have my refund. If you apply what I just shared, then the refund will seem less favorable because your money can do a lot more for you than the refund can do waiting on it at the end of the year if you apply what I've shared. A home-based business, in addition to that, allows you to fatten your refund or fatten your potential to get more money per paycheck if you understand how to do it. Not only that, a home-based business allows you to create income. You see, with a job, there's a salary cap. With a home-based business, there's no salary cap. So now not only are you working your job, you have supplemental income that can help speed up the process in other areas, whether that's debt elimination, bettering your credit, investing your money, and just give you sense of security and peace of mind, especially if that home-based business allows for you to make some passive income, some residual income that continues to earn even though you did the work a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. We currently do that right now. It's work that we did 5 years ago that has been paying us for years to this day, and we're greatly appreciative of it, but we also want other people to understand it, and that's how you outpace inflation. Let me know if you like those. Which one is your favorite? Some strategies, some things that you feel is a great way to outpace inflation. These are our 5, and at this time I feel many people can benefit from it. If you haven't already, click the available link below because we have a strategy that can help you bring all of those together. So if you have not already, if you want to bring all 5 of what I said together, all in one hub, all in one place, click that available link below and check out that strategy so you can start implementing that strategy and outpacing inflation. Hopefully that helps. That's all I got for this video. Mr. Smith, 0.5 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, signing out. Salute.